Hello everybody and welcome back. I hope you're keeping safe and well in these strange times. If you haven't already watched the video on numbers, I would strongly recommend you do that first because we will be using numbers in today's video about fruit, which explains why I'm wearing this, well, it's meant to be an apron. I'll explain a bit more about that later. Okay, so in Spanish, when we learned about numbers, we learned that one was uno, and that is true when you're talking about the number one. However, when you're using the word a to count a thing, so if there's a glass, for example, there's actually two words for it, and neither of them, I'm afraid, is uno. In Spanish, you've got masculine and feminine objects. So if it's a masculine object, if it's like a male object, it begins with un, a bit like French, un. If it's a feminine object, it would begin with una if we were counting one of it. Okay, now the reason I'm telling you that is because for you and your learner, you're going to need to know which ones are which for our fruit. Now, very fortunately today, we've got one fruit that is a masculine object, and that's a banana. So this says here in Spanish, it says a banana, okay? It says un, not uno, it says un plátano. And again, I've put the emphasis on the A, so you can see that's what I say, un plátano, okay? The other fruits we're looking at are feminine, so we have got, and that's why it's una, not un, una pera. We have got una naranja, and you'll notice if you've done the colour lesson, the fruit is the same word as the colour in Spanish, just like in English. Just a reminder that that J is actually like a H sound, so una naranja. Okay. We've got una manzana, now that's a Z, so it's a th sound, una manzana. Okay. And lastly, we've got una frambuesa. Okay, now that UE sound doesn't always sound like in Spanish, but it's a we sound in this case. Una frambuesa. Okay, so we've got 5 different fruits. I didn't want to go over the top, but if you want to research some others, maybe blackberries, plums, whatever, feel free to do so, and you can add more of those in. Okay, so we are eventually going to be role-playing a fruit market, but of course it's very unusual that you're going to be going to a market and asking for one raspberry. You get some strange looks. So we also need to learn how to say these words in the plural form. So if we want more than one of them. So for example, we will start with back to the banana. Now, these fruits in Spanish are great because all you have to do in terms of the actual object, which is plátano, banana, you have to put an S on the end. But of course, if I want more than one, I'm also going to need to change this because I can't say 1 bananas. So I need to say 2 bananas. So if you remember from the numbers lesson, dos is the word for 2. So I need to remember to change my number to dos, which is 2. And I also need to remember to put an S on the end of plátano. So that as well turns into a plural. So dos plátanos, that's 2 bananas. Dos plátanos. And the same follows with other numbers, so I'll pick some random ones that you know about. So if we wanted 4 bananas, we could say cuatro plátanos. Or if we wanted 8, we could have ocho plátanos. Okay? So it's the same with any fruit. We just need to get rid of the bit that says un or una, and we need to change that to the number that we'd like. So if I want 3 pears, what was 3 again? Right, it was uno, dos, so it was tres, wasn't it? So tres peras. Okay, and again, notice that I'm putting an S on the end because we want the object to change into the plural too. Okay, right, now we want to be nice and polite. I love a bit of politeness, so we've got to get this in. You also need to learn por favor, which you may have heard before. And again, because it's not por favor, it's por favor. And that means please. So we could say, if, let's have a think. Okay, I'd like to go and buy 5 oranges. Okay, so I'll get rid of that una. I'd like to buy 5 naranjas. Now, I don't want to be rude, so I'm going to say 5 naranjas, por favor, which means 5 oranges, please. Okay? Now, we don't want to lose custom at our fruit shop. It's important. So we also need to learn how to say gracias, which is thank you. Now, you'll be thinking, hang on, that's a C there. Why is he saying gracias? Well, certain Spanish accents would say gracias, but as far as I am concerned in terms of how I've been taught to say it, it's gracias. So just like it's 5, it's gracias. Okay, gracias. Right. So we've got the politeness out of the way. We've got the fruit out of the way. What do you need in terms of resources to teach this? Well, this is optional, but I would seriously recommend it. It's just a couple of pieces of paper. I've blue tacked them together. You could also staple them. Good luck putting it on after you've already got out of it, though, and getting out of it is quite difficult. So get it on, keep it on is what I would say. It just says La Fruteria, which means the fruit market, the fruit stall. So now the reason I've done this is because roleplay is amazing in Spanish. In any language, getting roleplay in there it's so vital and it's really, really good. I can still remember when I first started learning Spanish, we learned different rooms of the house. We did it just like MTV Cribs, so we gave people tours of our houses. The more you can get roleplay in, the happier your learner's going to be, the more they're going to remember, the keener they'll be to do the next lesson. I would highly, highly recommend it. So, you would also need, as well as your glorious apron, you will need the fruit. Now I'm going to just leave them on the screen a little bit longer so you can see spellings again. Now, while I'm doing this, if you've got real life fruit to use, even better. If you want to make this more interactive, even better. Okay, and then I just did this on a double-sided little slip of paper. You can do it however you want. Okay, right. So you can even have a little fruit counter. So how to teach this? I would go through a series of steps because you're going to build up to doing a role play, okay? The great thing about role play is because you're not being you, you can feel more confident. So you don't feel as self-conscious when you're speaking another language. However, because it feels like a performance sometimes, it can be a bit daunting. So we need to make sure your learner knows what they're doing first and is happy and confident. So the first thing I would do is I would, just like I've done with you, I would show them the different cards and get them to repeat after me. Really be tight on things like emphasis. So if I was teaching someone, I said, una manzana, I wouldn't say, oh, that's wrong, but I just una, listen again, so una manzana, okay? Just so that they can really carefully hear exactly where it is. Once you're happy that you know the fruits, what I'd like you to do next is you want to fold over the lettering, so you could fold it over like so, and then say the name and get them to point to the correct fruit. So you could say un plátano, and then they've got to point to the right one, okay? Then you could reverse it. So you can have you can point to the fruit still while they're folded over and get them to say the correct name. So if they're looking at this, you will want them to be able to say, una frambuesa, okay? Now, then you can introduce them to plural. So you can go to 2, 3, moreover like that, and you can do it just like I've done. Quickly tell them about por favor and gracias, and then you're ready to go on to the interactive role play. So you, as the shopkeeper, can have, and you can totally switch over turns, but I would start off as the shopkeeper because it's easier. I'd have all my fruit laid out, and I'd get them to ask me what they want. So they could say, dos naranjas, por favor. I can give it to them, and you can check with them that you're giving them the right thing. You can even trick them if you want, and then check, oh, was that right? And then you can reverse roles and things like that. But yeah, it's a great thing to do. I'd also say, if you want to revise colours, these are a great way to do that too. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.